Well, thank you very much for inviting me to speak with this group. It's such an honor, but not trying to promote myself, but I think I should let you know a little bit about myself, because I'm not a guru on Guan-Xi, and I don't have any particular kind of professional training in the area of Guan-Xi. I came to this country way back in the 60s to attend graduate school in social work. And then I worked in the mental health area for a very long time. And I think exactly 40 years ago, I became the director of psychiatric social work at the county hospital, which is not too far away from here. And then subsequently, I also became a business person. And I was a chamber president, struggling for my business. At the same time, being the chamber president, also working closely with my constituents as well as my competitors. Now, from that, you have to do a lot of interpersonal relationship. That's why I developed my sense of what I call Guan-Xi, basically from my personal experience that I'm trying to share with you. And when I heard that I was being invited to talk about Guan-Xi, I understand that, well, the term Guan-Xi itself, you know, if I try to, why don't you use the English word? We have to use this word that people may understand. But then the direct translation would be relationship. But if you just say we're going to talk about relationship, you would not give justice to the term Guan-Xi. I think Guan-Xi had taken on a special meaning. And it's kind of like, it's different thing to different people. I know that fact. But just for an icebreaker or whatever, I didn't expect that when some of my friends heard about I was going to be speaking about Guan-Xi, one friend actually came to me saying that, oh, I want to come to listen to you. I know that you're going to be talking about Guan-Xi. Then, yeah, I'm interested in learning about that. I said, what are you talking about? So she was thinking about, I was going to be talking about an area of China, which is well known for its landscape. And I don't know how many of you have seen that. That place called Guilin in the province of Guan-Xi, which also means that in the Chinese language, there's certain kind of subtlety that a slight change in the tone or a slight change in the meaning can mean entirely different things. And that is the concept that we're going to be referring to back and forth from time to time. Guangxi is the province, Guan-Xi is what we're talking about. Then that leads me into another issue that I experienced a long time ago. I had a friend, a lady, way back then, she got a chance to travel to China. And came back and said, hey, CW, I got this real good time in China. I even had a Chinese boyfriend, and he gave me a Chinese name. And I said, okay. But I also want to find out from you. I'm telling people that I got a Chinese name, and my Chinese name is Choi Feng. And then, and people, I talked to some Chinese people, and they say, why would your boyfriend call you a tailor? What did you do for him? You know. So what it is he said, no, my name is Choi Feng. Choi Feng in Canton is Phoenix, which in Canton is Choi Feng, and then
colorful Phoenix.
Tailor. In Chinese word is Choi Feng, Choi Feng, Choi Feng. Choi Feng is like a cut and stitches. So that's the word for the tailor. And so just a little bit of intonation changes come up with a different meaning. So that's what I want to impress you, try to understand Chinese, the subtlety that really counts. So in order to present that fact, and I kind of Google this tailor thing to just illustrate the difference between how can you tell the difference between a phoenix and a tailor, right? And then I came with this. I say, well, I stand corrected because in the English language as well, there's kind of cultures thinking that only Chinese is that way. You do have to have that kind of subtle differences even with English language. You know, a little bit different, the meaning can mean so many different things to different people. So even when you Google tailor, I make a slight mistake, came with something entirely different. So, so what I'm trying to do today is to attempt to clarify. And I deliberately not try to I did not try to use the term define because I keep repeating the theme. It takes a lot of subtlety, a lot of gray area, a lot of understanding of not the precision but sensitivity to the detail. Well, Guan-Xi, as it is, presented here, I put in the Chinese character. There's two characters, Guan and Xi, and the two characters really mean Guan is related and Xi is linkage. So when you put the two together, that gives you that concept of Guan-Xi. But then again, go back to the fact that different people think differently about what it really means. So I want to well, go into kind of a dictionary thing. It will be say the system of a social and influential relationship which facilitate the business or other kind of dealing. That you go into definition, this is what it comes out. I want to digress a little bit to a cultural phenomena. And throughout the process, I'm going to ask you, in order to learn about Guan-Xi, you have to be observant. You try to observe different situations, and particularly when you're in a new situation. When you get the chance to go into a Chinese restaurant, you say it's a very noisy place. But then you also probably notice, if you've been observant, at the end of the meal, when people started having some cordial conversation, at the end, they always ended up having a fight. I don't know whether you have experienced that, or you have observed that. The fight was so serious, it's almost like a brawl. The fight, come on. Have you ever experienced that? Can you guess why, I see somebody knocking. What are they fighting for?
To pay the bill.
To pay the bill. Yeah, so what's happening? So people, after having a good time eating, after that, they've been fighting to pay the bill. And then while they're fighting, they really almost like the enemy and fighting to death. And then what ended up is someone got to pay the bill, and then the other one just resigned to the fact that I lost. And then they will have another occasion to have lunch together again. And you start the whole ritual, start fighting and fighting again. It go on and on and on and on. They keep having lunch together. And then the lunch meeting might turn into, hey, let's start doing something else. Let's start doing, they might end up organizing a bridge club. And from the bridge club, it might end up, well, going to like an investment club. And why don't we go into business? Let's start buy a restaurant together. And then goes on and on and on and on. It all started with that lunch when they were fighting every single time. But if you really observe closely with that fighting scenario, I back out 10 out of 9 out of, well, 10 times. It will come up pretty evenly who won and who lost. So that is the a long story to try to illustrate that concept. And you say, okay, it's just like going out to lunch and we kind of talk and build up the relationship. We have that in the American culture being called the networking tool, but is it really, and in Chinese it's called like building a relationship, 建立关系, so building that relationship. But when you try to dissect that story that I told you, what are the elements that really constitute a Guan-Xi? First thing, from that scenario that I present to you about these two people having lunch together and started fighting, actually the message between them is they're fighting to treat each other. The message is really, I really like you, I want to be, associating with you, I want to take care of you. That's the message that being sent, no matter how interesting it may be, is that message. And I'm your friend, I want to take care of you. And then next time when you start fighting with me, you're giving me the same kind of message. And so it's a back and forth fighting for the bill that indicate one thing, there's a mutuality aspect in that relationship. that I do something for you, you do something for me. Now, the one element in that concept, like I may be paying for your lunch, is the relationship, that good thing that I try to do to you can be, well, like kind, can be in kind. I can do something A for you, and then you end up doing something B for me, and then the relationship just go on. I can treat you with a lunch. Next time you take me to a show, and the next time somehow you will bring my kids to, you know, the Walt Disney. It goes on and on like that. It doesn't have to really be the same kind of thing, which is different from, I guess, your experience in the American situation. When you go out for a meal, what do you do? Yeah. 10 people, and they say, separate checks. The waiter said, but in terms of the Guan-Xi building part, is really, what does it really mean? I don't owe you nothing, you don't owe me nothing, right? Which also means there won't be that kind of balance. It's all square deal. The balance is not tilted either way, which means you do not really have the need to really try to balance it anymore. Theoretically, that relationship could have ended at any point, and everything would be fine. But I guess for the subtle Chinese way is, I do a favor to you, you do a favor to me, and on and on and on and on and on. And it was never exactly balanced. But toward the end, it's always balanced. You need that kind of sensitivity. I mentioned the fact that in this relationship, it's a continuous process. It's ongoing, and then it's a balance. I mentioned about the fact that 10 out of 10 times, when you divide it up, when we go out fighting for 10 times, you probably ended up I won 5 times and you won 5 times. I don't know how that happened, but you need that kind of mutual understanding, mutual sensitivity to make that happen. What about if it doesn't happen that way? What about if I always end up on the winning side of that fight for the restaurant bill? What about you always ended up at the losing side of the restaurant bill? If I'm always on the winning side, what would be the outcome? Give me some ideas.
It's a bad relationship.
Yeah. If I keep winning all 10 times, and I end up paying the bill 10 times, I run the risk of offending you. It could be interpreted as an insult. You could be a person of me, right? What the hell you take me for? You think I cannot afford that? You know, you are not treating me fairly. Now, what about, on the other hand, I always 10 out of 10 times on the losing side? What would happen? That's no good, right? So, what do you take me for? A fool? You know, you're taking advantage of me. Hey. So either way, if you are always on the winning side, that's not a good Guan-Xi. If you always ended up on the losing side, that is not a good Guan-Xi. And then when you have that imbalance, you might end up in a situation where there'll be dispute. There'll be a termination of that relationship. Or there may be a need for, well, in our situation we call conflict resolution, right? You really have to face that problem and try to deal with that. But the whole subtle Guan-Xi building process is you really trying always to avoid that confrontation, that kind of ultimate showdown, by throughout the process always making that kind of balance. Now, if something doesn't go that way, you ended up by one person always winning, one person and always losing. That could be another subject by itself, so we're not going to touch into that, but it can be another long subject. So, while we're talking about Guan-Xi, the other side of the coin of, that goes hand in hand with Guan-Xi is the concept of faith. You have heard about faith. I'm sure you heard about that. You may not fully understand what it really means. It's really the glue that put everything together. When you talk about Guan-Xi, it's always being glued together by this concept of faith. Faith meaning that one should never cause another party to be embarrassed or to lose face. And then one should go through a great deal of length to avoid things that would cause oneself or yourself to lose face. Faith is such an important concept. Again, that can be a topic for another talk itself, but I just want to introduce the concept of faith that goes hand in hand with the concept of Guan-Xi, and that's how the whole thing will work seamlessly. Now, as the Guan-Xi, built up that way, we talk about building Guan-Xi from the restaurant experience. That you two started associating, ended up having lunch, ended up having bridge, ended up doing business together, ending up being business partner. It's a long-term relationship. You ended up having a close relationship. So this Guan-Xi really takes on the form of affinity. Like you heard people saying that Chinese people only like to work with people they know, or Chinese people only like to work with people they trust. Well, Americans too. Come on, we all human beings. Sometimes we tend to magnify our differences and minimize our similarity. We all the same, but that is the common thinking. Chinese people always like to deal with people they know, they trust. Well, several decades ago, Japan was an economic powerhouse, and America was trying to crack into that market. It was the same kind of thing, basically culture. People always want to do that. So, but we cannot really penetrate that system because they only deal with people they know. They only deal with their own family. It could be true, but it could be overstated. But the question is this a good system? The Guan-Xi that I mentioned about, that long-term relationship, the continuous relationship, I'm doing things for you, doing things for me. If this is a good system, if that system ultimately lead to you only have the tendency to work with people you are surrounding you, people you know. I'm not going to answer the question of whether it's really a good system or a bad system. Also, there's a question, would it really impede efficiency and transparency? It could, it might. In many instances, probably it did. But then, I want to focus on the fact why Guan-Xi, as we are discussing so far, come to be what it is today. Basically,
你在后面去了， You went back one.
下一页。
I pushed the wrong button. That's why I cannot see my back. That's why I can go make sure that, yeah. And so, why we have this system? The system basically because it was developed thousands of years ago in the absence of the concept of law as the main social control mechanism. Well, that is a fair statement. The Asian culture was never really a culture of law. But then the Western culture hasn't been that long for the law concept anyway. But that's a common thinking that Asian country, before there was a culture of law, or even nowadays, law may not be the most important, ways of running a country, running a company, running anything. Before there was this concept of law, the Guan-Xi and the faith are the controlling social institutions that try to put everything together. And the set of the social and ethical codes of interpersonal relationship deriving from cultural contact of Guan-Xi and faith has served to maintain harmony and stability based on long-term orientation and universal social value rather than individual immediate gratification. what I'm trying to point out is Guan-Xi face all these serve a social value, a social reason for its existence. When we're questioning whether this is something bad that really create problem for the community, I try to look at the other aspect, how it developed and how it is come to be what it is. And then now we come to examine what is the situation as of today. The new Guan-Xi. We have talked a lot about what Guan-Xi is supposed to be, how Guan-Xi has been developed throughout the ages. I try to make a guess that probably that was not what you come to hear. We try to come to hear, but Guan-Xi is probably something that's slightly different. The new Guan-Xi, as more people come to think about, is really a set of circumstances associated with doing business in China. Am I right? The first thing people think of Guan-Xi, this is Chinese word, and this is a time when China is going through this economic development. Everybody thinking about doing business with China, and everybody tell you when you want to do business in China, you got to know Guan-Xi, you got to build your Guan-Xi, and everybody started thinking about the business. And when you're talking about business, what Guan-Xi being narrowed down to is basically someone going to be telling you that when you want to do business in China, first you have to get yourself linked up with powerful and influential people at the point of entry. And perhaps you have to go through some intermediary, people telling you that you're not going to be able to do it yourself. I will help you do that. You know, I know how to navigate this process. And then what we have to do is probably, I would be pretty certain you'll be thinking about people talking about this lavish gifts and this extravaganza situation. Am I right? So I can easily understand that when people feel like this is the time when we always talk about from the state level, from the city level, the opportunity is dealing with the Asian country, we always try to figure out how we're going to jump on that China trade bandwagon. And being the newcomers to the game of the Guan-Xi, there will be two very likely consequences. One is there will be a great deal of puzzlement. And the other one is there will be certain level of discomfort. What is puzzlement? Puzzlement is really stemming from you not knowing and not understanding the situation before you. You don't know the game, and you're totally bewildered. It's like when you go to China, you want to do business. What am I going to be faced with? What am I going to be dealing with? A lot of puzzling situations you don't really understand. I want to prove. How do you deal with that? It's relatively easy. You don't know, you learn. There are tremendous, there's so many different opportunities we can learn. And you learn from more than one source. Different people are going to give you, don't even trust everything that I'm telling you today. But I start out by saying this is my personal experience. So you learn from different people. And the more knowledge you got, the more comfortable you become, the more you'll be able to manage your puzzlement, the situation. But what about the other side? The other likely outcome of trying to jump on this economic bandwagon before you are ready. In addition to puzzlement, you might experience some discomfort. Discomfort basically stems from you not liking what you have to do. Like you feel like you have to do something and you don't feel like you want to do it. What are the solutions for that? Now my thinking is the reason why you don't feel comfortable is you feel like I have to do this, but I don't like to do this. The solution, first things first, what your understanding may be totally wrong. Maybe you think this is what you're being expected to do, but it's not. So go back to the original of the puzzlement thing. You start learn more about the real situation instead of being confused by all the information that might lead you into a wrong conclusion of a situation. If after that you're certain that in a business dealing situation you're being asked to do something that you are not comfortable with, okay, that discomfort could be real. How do you deal with that? That is another one of my suggestions is you have to go back to your core value. You know, like a core value is what has been your way of doing things? Who are you? What's your personal value about interpersonal relationship? That's your guide. I cannot tell you what you should do because you are in a situation as yourself. You yourself make a difference. You are one of the two parties interacting. Who you are, how you deal with things, make a difference. So you always have to go back to your core value. But then one very important thing is sometimes when we're dealing with this business situation, you forget about this business 101 lesson. No matter what you do with the business, you talk a lot about Guan-Xi, but no Guan-Xi, you ain't gonna go nowhere, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Basically, business 101 is you have to have a product. You have to have a good product. You have to improve your product, and ultimately you have to find ways to have a good product and you have a good service. That is the main thing. Don't ever forget. Don't let all the other, minor issues confuse you. And then I also want to go into another area. While we are sitting here trying to learn about how to learn about Guan-Xi, how to deal with a culture that we're not familiar with, and how to navigate Guan-Xi. And we try to learn about all this. And I feel like that somehow you never can learn enough. You're still faced with the situation. You are still confused. But I just want to point out the other thing. In the trade situation, while we are studying how to deal with the Chinese or the Japanese or the Southeast Asian country, I'm pretty sure, I'm not there, I'm pretty sure over the other side of the Pacific, they also do the same thing. The university, they study how we're going to deal with the American, how we're going to understand the American culture, how we're going to adapt our model and fit in there so we can have a really productive relationship. You put yourself in the other person's shoes, you understand that interactive situation a lot better. While you are feeling bewildered, trying to understand and dealing and trying to change yourself, you understand that your counterpart on the other side also doing the same thing. They're also trying their very best to know about how Americans do business, which also means in a business situation, you don't always have to totally lose yourself. You can, to a certain extent, be yourself. And then ultimately, if both sides really have that sincerity or having a long-term business relationship, most likely the ultimate way of interacting is you're going to be meeting each other halfway. So that go back to that classic nature of Guan-Xi. And Guan-Xi actually, when understood and practiced properly, is a quiet skill and could be a business asset. And it's really rooted in the traditional Chinese thing. Confucianism defined 5 different kind of classical relationship. I'm not going to go into all this detail. There's a lot of emphasis about honesty and honor. This is, so Guan-Xi, when people interacting behind that, there's always this concern for the other, put yourself on the other's shoe, you have to maintain your integrity. You throw away all the other stuff, maintain only the interactive part, that is not the real Guan-Xi. So, which also means, how do you, I keep pushing, my hands are so big. Yeah, this keyboard is so small, I keep pushing. How are you going to really differentiate between good Guan-Xi and bad Guan-Xi, the true Guan-Xi, false Guan-Xi? So I kind of, as closely try to point out to you this thing for your thought. Really, for a lot of things that you heard about doing business, you heard about this practice of Guan-Xi, give a bad image of colonialism, corruption, and bribery, all this outrageous story. But how can you tell? So a true Guan-Xi building, I mentioned about all these different elements, focus on a long-term and continuous relationship. Versus a short-term and opportunistic benefit. And a true Guan-Xi have the element of the commitment for a genuine relationship, a genuine emotional involvement in that. So you actually care about the other party that you're dealing with, versus in a forced Guan-Xi situation when everything is instrumental and the material. You know, I don't care who I'm dealing with. Just want to get through. I'm going to give you this thing. You will give me that. I swipe your back and you swipe mine. And then the third one is the social value, and it really serves a social purpose, as it really not hurting anyone. Where in a bad Guan-Xi situation, it really serves no social value in enhancing individual, but really end up hurting people. I think you can come up with a lot of examples for that. And the true Guan-Xi enhance the trust. A forced Guan-Xi enhance greed. And the true Guan-Xi abide by the law. A forced Guan-Xi really against the law or try to circumvent the law. And when you engage in a true Guan-Xi situation, you actually are being informed and you learn. Each time when you interact, each time you learn something about the other person, you learn something about the process. Where in a bad Guan-Xi situation, everything is independently, isolated from any other. You don't learn anything. It basically, you're gaining no knowledge. It basically just the immediate gain. So I hope what I'm trying to do is give you some concept about the name Guan-Xi, and I don't know what your perception of Guan-Xi is before the talk, during the talk, after the talk, but somehow I just want to start that kind of conversation and start that kind of thinking. So thank you very much.
Any questions for Sita?
Well, we probably have lots of questions.
Yeah, we got.
Why don't we go
just
first
sitting
from
things
you?
up.
Yeah.
Oops, too fast. All right. I think I stand up to talk is better. I don't project as well as CW. My name is Jenny Yang. I'm the Vice President of Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, and I've been with this organization since 1994. CW hired me from Taiwan to come to work for Chinatown Chamber. And
It was a long time ago.
yeah, it's a long time ago. And he was a big shot. He still is a big shot. He's the pioneer seafood who sell pretty much the entire Midwest, the seafood. He couldn't find seafood in the sources. He went to travel to find the source. Signed contract with fishermen, farms, and then ship them over in container loads of them.
And I was helped by one big institution called the United Airlines, and Jenny at one point was a really executive of United Airlines, right?
No. Actually, it was after I finished chamber, and I also get my Kellogg degree at MBA, and then I started working for United Airlines. And he was having a little bit of difficulty with the schedule and the cargoes. So I gave him some, our executive's name.
Talk about Guan-Xi.
That's a Guan-Xi.
This is good. This is good Guan-Xi. I care about her. She cares about me, and then we somehow.
That was after 10 years knowing him. So the first 3 years, he pays all the meals. I did not pay any lunches because I work for him. He is my boss, so I do what he said. And then I make him my job. I feel like I want to make sure my bosses look good. So this is the network I'm creating for the Chinatown. I support my bosses, which are 22 board directors, my chairman, my president. And so I really enjoyed that working experience because I learned so much from all the 22 individuals, entrepreneurs, size from small, $500,000 to multi-million-dollar business. So today's speech, I will kind of more focusing on my experiences as an individual entrepreneur and coming to the States. What did I learn here? And continuously when looking down, or you have any questions, stop me. You disagree with me, just let me know. And I didn't say it right. CW always can correct me. So after 20 years, he will just, he still is very, very good. Hi, John.
Jenny, so now you're not with United Airlines, you have a company of your own.
Yes.
That's what you mean when you're saying individual entrepreneur.
Yes, yes. I will mention about that part. I'm on the board of a chamber, but I also, 8 years ago, I started, I took over an old tofu company called Phoenix Tofu. Not relation with that logo on there, but Phoenix Tofu has been around in Chicago for 32 years. And we use non-GMO soybeans grown Marengo, Illinois, locally, organically grown. That's what happened. I took over. The 20-something years, we always have hard time to find and source, rely on the master to find where's the good beans, how to use the good beans. So, but anyway, I can also use my company right now as an example later to talk about what's Guan-Xi helped or did not help about my business. So the fun part is CW told me that's what he's going to talk about 2 days ago. So I put down a simple slide presentation for him, so and me too, so connected together as a coherent presentation. But last night, 11:30, he says, Jenny, I got my slide presentation done. So
I said I'm going to start doing my.
Start doing this morning. So what happened was, this is what happens. I have 2 slide presentations. He told me he's going to talk about traditional value, how you to look at Guan-Xi. It's basically mutual respect, trust, and loyalty, mutual obligation. He buy me lunches, I will do him a favor too. So it's basically mutual. And then continuous relationship. He and I, he's almost my uncle now. So my kids grow up, have issues, social. He's my counselor too. So we have all kinds of relationship in different dimensions and go along. So this, I think, Guan-Xi-wise, in this way, it's very positive, very healthy. And also we mentioned about this character. Guan-Xi, there's 2 characters, I don't know if everybody can see. This is complicated traditional characters. The first character, Guan, actually there's a gate on top. So basically you're talking about Guan-Xi, you have to be in the group, inside the gate. If you're not in the group, you're not inside the gate, you're not part of it. And then the Xi is in the connecting. You see the lines all together. So basically, that's a 3-dimensional relationship with friendship, with professional relationship, and all those connected together. That's what we're talking about. The 2 characters I think is great. The Chinese missing in translation, I think that's the word. That you can't see the Chinese character, but you know. That's what I was trying to bring up to you to see. Take a look. And then CW says he will talk about evolution. So interpersonal relationship, face value, face issues, social issue, ethical codes. Basically, if it's a very traditional Confucius way of looking at this whole issue. 四维八德, the 4 virtues that Confucius was talking about in 论语, they all kind of still is part of our, that's a total subject, so I don't need to go into too details. But that's basically how it structures a society, pillars. No laws written down, and you respect seniors. That's not a law. That's the pillars to build a society. So that's why we are talking about the social issue, ethical codes. And then I think in the positive side, this Guan-Xi should be sustaining a harmonious and stable society to help us bring a universal value, the similar value to look at each other, and long-term orientation. So I just repeat what you said. CW.
But you can see that when you have gone to a business school, the presentation will be a lot more organized, right?
No, I'm just telling you a story. That's all.
Keller was a good
CW story
yeah.
and my story. And so it's become a long-term trust. So CW still call on me, says, Jenny, I have a project. Could you help me out? Right? If I have, after 3 o'clock start, I have to pick up my kids. I cannot. If I can go out with him to go knock on the doors, door to door, to register, helping people to vote, I will do my best. So things that I can do. And explore opportunities, I don't think so. I don't think let's start getting into the negative part of it. So gifts, I never give you any gifts. I don't even send him a greeting card.
But then somehow at one point I will be getting some gift from her.
Yes, and then I start giving him tofu, which Mrs. Chen likes our tofu very much. And so this kind of issue is come to the people thinking about, oh, Guan-Xi is negative, it's not as a positive, it's not a good relationship to have, or it's no good word to talk about. So from the entrepreneur perspective of Guan-Xi, from my note, as the CW said, we're in Chicago. Are you talking about networking? Are you talking about Guan-Xi? Are you talking about relationship with everybody, professionally and all that? So I think everybody is sensitive on that, understanding that very well. And may I ask, how many have business here? Or you're from school or organizations? Okay, so just to know. Because if I talk too much about business, I think it's kind of boring. So to me what is a social capital? From my world, from Asia, I came here in 1994. I was here undergrads for Miami University for a couple of years, but I always go back to work. I never thought I would stay here. So what's a capital? Why you have to put a dollar sign on everything? Relationship is fun. Friendship is fun. Doing business, successful, achievement, accomplishment. Why you have to put a dollar sign on it? So it kind of confused me a little bit. But I understand what people are trying to see. It's a valuable asset to help you to grow your company, help you to establish your network. So I understand. So Chinese people in Chicago, there's a lot of them. More and more. 3 times more now? From my perspective? Yeah, I think 3 times. Plus the school have a lot of foreign students here. So we're talking about the pie. If you only do business in Chinese community, a pie from little Chinatown, Cermak and Wentworth. Now it's from 18th Street all the way to Bridgeport. So like almost 10 times more. And this pie has grown. And then you're talking about the network or the Guan-Xi relationship is grown so much. And to me, if you're looking at business sense on this, Guan-Xi, pie is so much bigger. And for my business, as tofu, 32 years ago, we only sell tofu and beef wrap to all Chinese restaurants. Maybe some out-of-town customer likes our tofu, come and pick it up from us. Now, our tofu is at Mariano's, Whole Foods, and all the Chinese restaurants in Chinatown still, grocery stores still, H-Mart, Korean stores, Japanese stores, they all have our products. So you're looking at the Guan-Xi can help you to enlarge a pie so much bigger. So it's not like fighting each other with the same population, only 10 people eating tofu, and then 3 companies fighting for this 10 people. That's no fun. You want to make the Guan-Xi, you want to make the relationship much bigger, entire Asian, entire Chicago, health. People like to eat healthy, people are vegan, people like to sustain the business, local business. They are all my customers. So it's so much bigger. So you're talking about Guan-Xi means like, to me, it's entire Chicago, or entire Illinois, or entire Midwest. So we are going to Midwest for Whole Foods, with Whole Foods, entire Midwest, 48 stores. So this is the goal we're going in. So from looking at the small Guan-Xi, understanding how it operates, and now we can talk about operating at a bigger scale. How to enlarge your social network, or social pie, or social capital, I think we can talk about further. And how we can help me to grow pie bigger. It's also, you can tell me, or I will share with my story. So I think the new Guan-Xi in Chicago, I don't know, you bring this concept back to Asia, you want to do business in Asia, or in Chicago, or you should go to New York, Chinatown, or go to West Coast. There's a lot of Asian community there. So remember, Guan-Xi and network is very different. You go to a cocktail party to pass out your insurance cards, or your insurance agent pass out, give me a chance, give me a call, I give you a quote. Right? You can do that all day long, all year round. Will you get a customer base? Maybe a few. But if you want to know that you involved with this community, why you are here, and then you want to do helping the business, putting the help outside first rather than getting the business first. So the concept is a little bit, steps a little bit different. I receive emails or invitations to go to Kellogg's after hours party all the time. Should I go? I always ask myself, but the same people go there every time. Do I want to meet the same people every time? So you're just thinking about the same time that you're doing the network, that become a little bit negative understanding the same people going there just pass out business card or heard about your stories and do things together. It's fun, but I feel like there's much bigger things you can do with it. And then the second thought I think this new Guan-Xi is like a three-dimensional, as CW was teaching me. It's personal, it's social, community related, and also it's professional. CW teach me when he was doing his seafood business, he gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I would complain to him I have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning too. And then he says, by the time, and then now I realize I was working with him at the same time he has his own business. So he put his time, personal time, in the business at 3 o'clock in the morning. By noontime, he come to Chinatown Chamber to guide me or give me suggestions or meeting with me. He's already half the day done, all day done. It's already almost 8 hours. And he has another 8 hours spent in the community working with Chinatown Chamber, Castle.
You didn't think I was coming to check on you, right?
No, I didn't think of it. So basically, I learned so much of it is he actually put as much time, if it's not more, into the community to volunteer, to help, to solve the problem for people, rather than his own seafood business. But when restaurant owners want to have seafood, they have a problem with other people's seafood, they immediately thought of CW. It's business. So I hope tofu will be the same thing. So people were thinking about if they want tofu, they will call me. It's just not because if they know I have tofu, I always, giving out business card. It's just like I'm there. I'm helping them and supporting them. So this is the Guan-Xi I was looking at. It's supportive, it's mutual, it's respectful to each other. And then if you don't do the same back to them, if CW keep calling me for, but not keep calling me, suggesting me to, or some other organization call me says, Jenny, I always take advantage of their membership listing. I can use their membership to send out my DM and all that. But when they ask for donation, helping out volunteer kids or homeless people, or all kind of issues, I say I have no time. I don't think they will. The reciprocal this relationship will continue going further, last long. So from the new Guan-Xi, I think is here. Well, I don't know will be successful or not. Is the old school trust between each other, because I know him so well. I know him so long. And another example I have is Golden Country. I don't know if you know this person, Raymond Lee. He owns Golden Country. He's one of the largest distributors in Chicago. When I first take over the tofu business, of course his wife says, oh, we have to have Jenny's tofu, right? That they're selling to Big Ball, Lettuce and Tenyu Group, all the schools, they're huge. And when I become a tofu entrepreneur, they said, I should use Jenny's tofu. They did not. Why? Because our product shelf life is not stable in our fresh tofu. So they said, well, the customer may not like it, you should pasteurize. I tried. Pasteurization killed the nutrition factor, change the texture, change the flavor. I want to stay selling fresh tofu and good tofu. 2 years later, there's opportunity. But I was there. I was always in the meeting with Raymond. I was always meeting with Sydney. So 2 years later, Big Ball complained, their tofu supply is not good. The tofu they got from Sydney is not good. Immediately got the phone and called me, and they switched within a week. So I supply all the Big Balls now. So it just, if you go up to just say, I want to do business, use my tofu, I give you price, good price, competing, and it's not going to work long. So again, this is a long-term relationship. It's continuous. It's reciprocal too. So I make Golden Country look good. I make the customer have no complaint. They can comfortably selling my product. So it takes a couple years. So as CW said, you got the trust, you got the network, you got the your friendship. But if you don't have a good product, like if Pioneer Seafood is not selling good product, nobody will buy. But if you have a good product and you have this network, you have this trust and relationship, capitalization is the right way to use. And Western profession, yeah, it will be helping me to doing a presentation like this. Maybe, I don't know, this computer is so easy to use now. Yes, Kellogg does help me to understand what are the mainstream businesses looking things now. And also, other than Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, other than Castle, Chinese Service League, Chinese Museum, and Coalition for a Better Chinese American Community, sorry. And John is involved with all of them almost. So what else we can enlarge our pie? What are the organizations that we can enlarge our pie? I'm in the food business. So National Restaurant Association is that my target and my next network I should go into. No, it doesn't fit. You have to evaluate. If you want to build a relationship, you have to evaluate. I like good food organization better. Good food, they have UIC, they are UIC Pavilion every March time to do a kind of local food show. So it's all the local food products, they will be invited or they participate to present their product. So I was there first year. I thought nobody would notice me. I was wrong. People love local product. They don't even know fresh tofu tastes so good. I got free tasting and all our products were gone. And then after that, it's become media coverage, become people come and see us, become even investors come and see us. So it just, you need to, and then what did I, reciprocal, they provide the venue. I give it only $800 for the fees to enter, but what's the reciprocal part for me to do is here I'm standing here talking about how good they helped me to go into Whole Foods, how they connected with me to go to a rebranding marketing guru. So I'm talking about how good they are for me and how good they can help, although if you are interested in the food business, they can help you too. And also, they have friends who want to go to Chinese market from other states. Of course, Raymond Lee will be a good person to know. So we all share the information and share the trust, share the referring to them. If it will get flowered, blossom, or fruit result, it depends on their own network, their own efforts to it. And if it's an optimal business model, it's too early to say if Phoenix is successful or not. We're heading I think it's the right direction. We are working with a lot of chefs. We're in the farmers market, Green City market, a lot of places to introduce our product. And but is it vital for us to just stop at our sales increase 3 times within the next 2 years? Is the optimal goal for me? I don't think so. I think the ultimate goal for me is Chinatown has a tofu festival. People can come and taste all kinds of tofu. The chef can use all kinds of tofu they want to create their dishes. And I want people to come and free tasting tofu to understand that tofu is part of the culture. Why I'm involved with this business is part of the culture and part of root. Part of Chinatown is my root. So I connect it together. So this is a new Guan-Xi, a new definition individually, or this is a new Guan-Xi as my future from career-wise. I'm not sure I can get with the answer, but I think for anybody who has a good product, if they want to going in to share their stories, I think CW is a good person to know for Chinese community, and the chamber is good. Castle is also a good community, and some professional organization is also a good platform to get involved. So I think that's pretty much it. Questions?
I should have suggested to Jenny that bring some tofu. So
I thought of that. So anyway, thank you for coming.
Any questions? Jack?
Pardon me, CW, I just because Jenny was just talking. Jenny happened to give a presentation at the Edgewater Public Library, which happens to be right down at the end of the block that I live on her site. And so she gave this, and it wasn't in Chinatown, it was way up on the north side. People came from all over, the kind of people who go to library things. And talking about new products, she introduced me and my wife to tofu, not Chinese, tofu cheesecake. And I'm lactose intolerant, so I have to have 240 ice cream and stuff, right? So there's a new product.
Yeah, that actually I did not make that product. It's that's what I think. You make the pie bigger. How do you can't just by yourself to build, put the puzzle together, make the pie bigger. So what I did was I worked with all the chefs and the different theater company, and for this incident particularly, is Eli Cheesecake. They approached me. We're kosher certified. We're local. We grow our soybeans here, and they're a local company too. So they first request to develop a new cheesecake. Is vegan for Mariano. They already deals done. As long as you got it, it will be in the shelf. So it's like a no-brainer. They have to create this product. So we're fortunately that we are at the right time and the right place. And then we're kosher certified, we're local, and it still takes them a year. They're not only using our tofu, and they test other people's tofu too. So at this point is what I said, the professional network, because I was Green City Market, they found us over there. But if I don't have a good solid product, they test Japanese tofu, Korean tofu, everywhere. They use soy milk everywhere. It didn't work. So our tofu, our soft tofu, actually created the best flavored cheesecake for them.
And I want to, listening to Jenny, we kind of talked briefly about this, but coming from learning from what you talk about is really that I thought about that product issue. Don't get yourself into tangent thinking about all this secondary thing. You have to have a product. Always remember the first thing. But then also the fact that I think you were able to combine. You can go into the Western market. You can go into the Eastern market. There's something that can be used on both sides. That's the success coming from. That you have to somehow integrate your knowledge dealing with the Western approach and also the Eastern approach, and don't get preoccupied with one that you have to change yourself into that. And I think that's a very good example. You can go into Mariano. You can go into Eli Cheesecake. You can go into the Chinese grocery.
Yeah.
And pretty much using the same kind of Guan-Xi. It doesn't have to be like, this is one set, this is the other set, they're mutually exclusive. No, that's not what it is.
I was actually going to ask a question about that since you brought that up, which is that your presentations today sort of mostly focused on Chinatown and relationships among Chinese people. And I was going to ask you if you could talk a little bit about the difference between what you see as Guan-Xi and Chinese culture versus the way business relationships operate kind of like outside of Chinatown or in general
Asian market or just mainstream?
Just mainstream American,
mainstream.
Because you talk about dealing with, like Mariano's and these other American corporations.
I've not gone to Mariano's store for like 3 years.
Oh. I
call them. I have Alderman's connection to call them. I have my real estate broker that somehow they share the same, and I talk to them. And I went to the store to ask for them, but they said they're too busy or there's just no response. Until one day in a Chinese banquet hosted by Hunan delegation in Four Seasons. And I was not invited, actually. I was invited because my husband is American. So they want American people to be in the delegation to
So
celebrate the success.
They,
So I was just going there because it's Mrs. Nygren, and it's true. So why not just go there? And I was not expecting much. I just enjoy being invited to have a nice meal at Four Seasons. Turns out the gentleman sit next to me at the same time arrived the Four Seasons at the same time. It was bad weather, so we all kind of get wet a little bit. So we walked to the hotel at the same time, ends up sitting at the same table. And had like, there was 3 other ladies at the same table. We start speaking Chinese and found out that I have Phoenix tofu for Huang tofu. And they said, oh, they're all my customers, turns out. So it was just coincident. We started talking about, they're all excited to talk about how they use our tofu. And then the old gentleman started talking to my husband, said, why these girls are so excited. And then my husband says, oh, she does it for Huang tofu. She has a tofu manufacturing company. And then the old gentleman says, oh, really? Interesting. And where did he sell it to? Are you selling to Mariano's? And then immediately I clicked back and said, no, I'm not, but I really like to go. He says, okay, I will talk to Bob about it. I said, you know Bob Mariano? So anyway, it was a really funny story. It turns out he is Bob's father-in-law. So, and it still took him 6 months for me to get a call from their VP and to test out at the Halsted market. And then right now, Halsted Monroe is one of the best market for us at Mariano's.
I thought that ultimately the relationship is a win-win situation. It's not like a short-term situation. It's not a one-time deal situation. It's a long-term situation that the parties involved genuinely feel good about doing things for each other. It's not like you school me, I school you, you help me, I help you, and then we move on and we find the next opportunity. You can see that it's a long-term relationship that I think these gentlemen genuinely like to help you and not expecting anything in return at that moment, but you always remember that and you remember next time you help you. Which also means a lot of time we're trying to look at this thing from a cultural context perspective, say we have to understand a different culture, but ultimately when you look into it, we're a lot more similar than we are different. A lot of time when we try to dissect a situation or a problem, we try to drill into how different we are, how far apart we are. But ultimately, you're going to find out we're a lot more similar than different. And I think sometimes the same set of principles, and I try to emphasize the fact when you go into the core value is knowing who you are and being genuine and sincere. And I was in the business, I traveled nationwide, I even traveled to Europe trying to make deals with different companies, and I negotiate with different people using the same principle. And one principle that I learned from my Chamber Day counseling, talking to different meetings about how to do business, I always come to one thing is, if people tell you that when you do business, the trick of business is you cannot be too honest, you cannot really, you heard that, right? Yeah, you cannot be honest.
That's the art.
That's the art. You cannot. If you're not honest, you're not going to be really. There had to be certain kind of honesty. When I deal with my customer, they ask me something, I say, I can't tell you. Why can't you tell me that? What I can tell you is 100% true. What I can't tell you is trade secret. You understand that, right? Oh yeah, yeah. So from that point on, whatever I tell him, he believes, he trusts, and respect the other part. So you always have that trusting relationship, which also means you don't deliberately lie to people. It's going to get back to you. I think that's why I feel like I was fortunate enough to be in the professional side, dealing with interpersonal relationship, work a lot on human relationship, human interaction, and then I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time in the entrepreneurship and also in some teaching.
Yeah,
and this is what the understanding that I come to.
If you ask me, CW is relying on Guan-Xi to expand his business, he's the last person on the earth I will say he uses Guan-Xi to develop his business. He's really hardworking and go to the stores, go to the problem solve, and provide the best services and product for the customer. I think that makes a huge difference. And then you develop more Guan-Xi relationship and trustworthy business partnership. And then talking about more American related to the Guan-Xi Whole Foods. I also knock on their door, and actually their store buyers want to buy our tofu. And I don't think we're ready for it. So until Mariano took it, and they said they wanted to. And then actually they did say, well, if Mariano take it, I'm not taking it for a period of time.
Yeah.
So it just, so are you taking it as a negative input? No, I think that he felt jealous. So if we're good and we're strong and then we prove we can supply all the Marianos, it just I just feel like it's just timing issue. If they, because it's the local product that we have and fresh product, they all natural ingredients is perfectly fit for their customer. If just because of their ego issue that they don't want to buy our product, sooner or time, that buyer will not be there forever. So just wait for your time, it's okay. So eventually they do have ours, and then they come very strong and very quickly. So just need to be patient. And American, I don't know about outside because I never worked outside Chicago, but American just kind of network where what kind of industry you're in. When we business school, we graduated all different industry. Basically, if you want to interview all across the board for financial analysts, different industry all have different questions. So it's basically that's the source, that's the pool of the information that you need to dive into to find it. And the same methods, there's key players, there are organizations, and there are a lot of work related to this kind of group that you can get involved. I think that eventually door will be open for you. There's another place people said, it's like Italian restaurant right on Wells Street. What was that Italian restaurant? Yeah, not Maggiano's. On Wells, like train track, really exclusive, next to a merchandise mart. I forgot its name of the restaurant. And everybody was joking that that's where Shaker and what American Mover and Shakers go there for lunch, and who'll be seen there for lunch with. So there's places if you really want to do that level of network, not pulling that level of Guan-Xi, there are places like that. It just depends on what you want to do, what kind of services you're providing, what kind of product you're providing.
I have a question for CW. I'm curious what your process was in terms of sourcing fish. What was your process in going
I didn't talk going too much about my specialty at one time was really marketing the freshwater fish from the Midwest, the river, the waters to all over the country, and I even attempted to market to Europe. So I traveled a lot, making stop at. It was a new kind of business at that time. I was fortunate to stumble into that, and sourcing means. Well, really, people asking me, I was in a small family business that I had to take over when my father died, and turn it into something. When someone from out of state asked me, I know that you have something like that in the Midwest, can you bring me? Let me try that. So I shipped the guy some sample, I shipped the wrong fish. I was not knowledgeable, I shipped the wrong thing. And the guy called me back, you sent me the wrong thing, but the wrong thing was good. Find me the wrong thing. So that wrong thing turned out to be something that of very little market value at that time, and so we found, oh yeah, you can sell that. So we come around and to all the fishermen in the 500 miles around the area, you just fish everything, I'll just bring it and I'll try to market for you. And when you deal with fishermen, you have to take everything they catch, which means all kinds of junks, good fish, bad fish, everything. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. So after you got this whole bunch of stuff, you have to figure out how you're going to market them in relationship. It turned out you really have to be multicultural and know about all different cultures, know about the uniqueness of different culture. With the product coming from the Midwest area, we have this Great Lake, which is similar to Caspian Sea and all those. We have the same kind of product. So people from those areas eat the same kind of thing, but they eat different kinds of things from those lakes. So you talk about Jewish people eat certain kind, the Iranian people eat a certain kind of Greek leg, and the Asian people, they China, they eat certain kind of thing. When you got a whole bunch of fish, you count on one customer from one group, you cannot survive. So you have a broad base, you have to build up relationship with all different. This is the international global market. So in the United States, when we got all the product, then our traveler can walk into any situation, walk into a supermarket chain, walk into an ethnic grocery store, and then when you got, let's say, 50,000 pounds of fish of all kinds, you sort it out. This one go to New York, it's a big fish market. This one go to California, it's a big Iranian market. This one go to, and then you get everything out. The challenge of the business is I'm telling people, you never know what you're going to get in 2 days. But whatever you get, you have to get rid of them in 1 day. So you really have to build up this huge network, knowing a lot of people, and you just get ready, I might have something for you in a couple of days. And then without that kind of network, you cannot survive in that business. But that's the exciting part about the business, really. And that really ties into all this networking, Guan-Xi building, and you use your Western know-how, you use your Eastern inner self, and I always go back to the integrity, the trust, and relationship, and then you have to be able to navigate the system I mentioned about. We used United Airlines to ship all the product on a daily basis, and they were able to negotiate like a 40% off.
That's a good old time, so that doesn't exist anymore.
But I've been retired from business for a long time.
Any other questions?
What you learn is, Taylor can be confused with phoenix, can be confused with bird, and it's also the name of a very famous or soon-to-be global tofu company. So you see either a Taylor, you see either a phoenix, a bird, or anything, you can think of Jenny Yang, and when you walk into...
Actually, we are doing the most Google search right now, not about tofu, is not how to make tofu, or how the tofu was made, is how to use tofu. So basically, people know about tofu. It's good to know for me, and we are in the right track. We have about 8 products prepared, like tofu ready. So that's why you see at the Mariano's on the salad bar, soon at the Whole Foods too, they will be our tofu. It's already marinated, teriyaki, shiitake mushroom with black sesame seeds and coconut milk, peanut sauce, and Sichuan styled or sriracha peanut sauce. So they will be all soon coming out. So the chef, when we solve the problem for the chefs, they don't need to learn another trades or the recipe. So we just provide it directly.
And I want to have the last word. So the whole thing about Guan-Xi is really, you really have to know your product, and you have to really like doing your product, like the enthusiasm that you can see from her when she talk about this new idea of the product. She's so excited, and you have to learn to like people you're dealing with, the customer. You have to genuinely like the people you're dealing with. So that's all coming in a package. This is the true Guan-Xi I'm talking about.
Thank you very much.